Hey everyone, it's Sophia, and today I thought it'd be fun to do a video that I haven't done before, which is things that I wish I knew before attending USC. I just finished my freshman year, and I'm a rising sophomore, so I thought it'd be fun to just kind of give you guys some tips and things that I learned throughout the year that I found really helpful, or just something that I wish I knew ahead of time. Some things are more detailed, and then other things are just random little things that I figured out worked better. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. At number one, I'd say that orientation is very helpful. Orientation's in general pretty helpful, but at least at USC they gave us a campus tour. They gave us a tour inside of the dorm that we were going to be staying at, which was really nice because then I got to be able to see what campus looked like before I ended up attending. And I had a better idea of where things were, which definitely helped ease my nerves, especially because I had only visited the outside of campus before. I had never actually taken a tour before applying or committing. Also, I got to see what the inside of my particular dorm was going to be like. So I was able to see kind of like the measurements of everything, helped me to be able to decide what I wanted in my room, what I could fit, and how I wanted to decorate everything. It was really helpful to take videos too of everything. If you can, you could probably try to get measurements in really quickly, but I think that'd be a little bit difficult. Also, I'm pretty sure that you can search up the measurements of the desks and the beds and everything online. Number two is to make a list of all of your classes that you need to take for the following semester right before registration, so that way when it's time to register for all of your classes, everything is in your course bin. You don't have to rush the morning of trying to add all your classes in, and then they might just be taken by that point. So highly recommend a few days before to just schedule and organize all of your classes. Make sure that they also go with your expected graduation because you don't want to fall behind. And then check the Rate My Professor for each professor that you're thinking of taking. It might be that one of the classes you need is offered by two different professors, but one professor is just better than the other, so definitely do that. Also, make a list of backup classes that you may need to take. USC is pretty big, which means that there's a lot of students who are also trying to get the same class as you. Super stressful when you've completely done your course bin and you're ready to check out, and boom, a couple of those classes are already taken. So if you have a backup plan, it might not be the better plan, but it's a backup for a reason. Definitely do that, so that way you're not as stressed and you can get all the classes that you need. Going along with that, number three, know the difference between D clearance classes and R classes. So R classes are classes that anybody can take. Usually they're like general eds. But D clearance classes, they kind of like show up on the side of your web reg next to the class, which means that you have to get like a referral basically to take that class, or you need to do a D clearance form for that, which you have to talk to your counselor. So definitely don't put anything that's a D clearance class in your course bin without knowing that you're able to take that class 100%. You have to get cleared for it. Number four is a little random, but use a mesh shower caddy as opposed to a plastic shower caddy. I lived in a party and we had hooks in our showers. I had a mesh shower caddy, so I was just easily able to hang it up on the hook. I do remember walking by people and seeing that they had plastic shower caddies and they always had to put those on the floor. I don't know about you, but I personally don't put anything that I own on communal shower floors or in a communal bathroom at all. So I highly recommend the mesh ones, or just ones that hang, because that way they're super easy to clean. You just throw them in the laundry. Able to actually hang them up on a hook as opposed to leaving it on the dirty ground where it can collect stuff. And then that's also another thing that you have to wash, kind of like a dish. So it's just easier to throw it in the washing machine than have to get a soap and a sponge. Number five is, I learned that USC is very picky about transferring credits. Essentially, if you look at their transfer credit guide, they don't accept any transfer credits if you took a college class physically at your high school, or if it's like not taught by a professor, they don't accept that either. Or if your class is not offered to the general public, as in people who are taking college classes at an actual college, they won't accept it. So that's really annoying and unfortunate because it's the exact same class, it's just taught at a high school, which is exactly what happened to me. But they don't really accept it. They kind of just use it as like elective credits as opposed to credits if you want to fulfill your GE. So if you do take dual enrollment classes, I recommend taking them physically at that college as opposed to your high school. Number 6 is that you can actually take up to 18 units if you're a full-time student. So typically the minimum, I guess you would say, that people take is 16, and the maximum that you can take without paying extra are 18 units. So that means you can take a 2-credit class that can be fun. So I know that there's like swimming, I think that one's 1 credit though, surfing lesson, a bunch of dance classes, which is what I'm going to be taking next semester. So it'll be your 5th class, but it's worth 2 credits. I think it's a really good way to take a class that maybe you've never tried before and that you've always been interested in, or if you're somebody who already knows that you're going to like that, then it's really fun because then you already know that you like it. As I'm editing, I'm remembering something else that goes along with this, which is the more credits you have, the better, because USC will usually allow you to register for classes a day or 2 before the rest of your classmates if you have more credits than them. So if you keep taking 18 units each semester, then you're usually able to register for classes the day before everybody else in your grade, which is very nice because then you might be able to get a class that is closed the next day. Number 7 is to utilize office hours with professors. Each professor is supposed to have a designated time for office hours, which is basically where you can go in and ask questions either in person or sometimes they do it on Zoom. I prefer it on Zoom better because I don't have to walk to their office. Usually it's one-on-one time because not that many people go to office hours, and you're just able to ask all of your questions, and it helps the professor get to know you better too and kind of understand like what you're struggling with, and then they can really help you out. I remember my first semester I was really struggling with my French class, and for a while I wasn't really going to office hours because I felt like I knew what I didn't know, I just had to study it. But once I actually tried out office hours, it was pretty helpful because then she was able to give me questions that were either going to be like on the quiz or on the test, or just examples of questions that would be on future exams. So that was really nice. And it helped me realize really what I needed to learn and which chapter I could find it in. Similarly, number 8 is to attend your review classes. What that means is usually at the end of the semester, the professor will have, like on the last day of classes, they'll have like a test review session where they might go over the study guide, or they could allow you to ask questions on things that may be on the test. And that's really helpful because then, again, you can ask questions on what might be on the test, ask questions on things that you missed in the study guide, or just things that you've been not 100% sure about. And most of the time it's very helpful because the questions that they answer will show up on the test. Number 9 is to let your friends go out without you. What that means is because you're going into a new environment, you may feel like you know these people because you see them every day, pretty much all day, but you really don't really know what they're like outside of school. So I really recommend letting them go out first, seeing how everybody comes back, seeing what everybody says, like were people taking care of each other, were people doing things that maybe you're not comfortable with or that you feel like might harm your safety if you were to go out with them. And that really tells you over time like who you can feel comfortable going out with, whether that be literally just around your college town or if you go to frat parties or just parties in general. I found that really helpful, and I was able to figure out who I feel like I could maybe go out with and who I definitely would not leave campus with. It kind of goes along with number 10, which is not everyone is your friend. This doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person or a mean person, but sometimes you might just meet somebody and think you guys get along really well, or that you guys have things in common, but it turns out as you get to know them more and more that maybe you don't have as many moral things in common, or maybe there's just something that you guys are not compatible with. And that's okay, that's just a part of life. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop hanging out with them, but maybe you just wouldn't hang out with them as much, or maybe you just wouldn't do things with them, like go to events or leave campus with them. You just really have to be careful with who you're really friends with and just trying to get to know everybody, because as much as college can be fun for people and a time to be independent and free, it's also really important to be safe. So that's definitely your top priority. Be careful with who you surround yourself with and really pay attention to what they tell you and how they act when they are around other people. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you if you're an incoming freshman at USC. I wish you all the best. Bye!